Hey guys, welcome back to the Vault. This is John from Locked TCG today with another gameplay video from our locals last week over at Koalaty Games. Today we have Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta versus my Super Saiyan 3 Goku reboot leader. Today for the video we have Xavier, who is playing the game, but also we have Joe for the first time. He's one of our newer players in the group. He's also my twin brother, so I apologize if the audio sounds very similar, but Joe and Xavier, welcome to the video.
Hello.
Hello.
So this was I think round 2, Xavier, from last week, and I don't know. Playing against Xavier Super Saiyan 4 deck, I always I'm afraid of the Android 17 turning the tide, and also him getting all the energy. But in this game, I just know I was doing absolutely nutty shit with the gates. But Xavier, how'd you feel about playing this game throughout the day, or playing the deck throughout the day, if I would probably ask, without spoiling what happens at the end?
Well, I actually felt pretty good with it. The only problem is I think I didn't pack in my South Kais or my West, or is East Kai?
East Kais. The chick is the East Kai.
Yep, I didn't pack in my East Kais, so that was my only issue. But anyway, I had pretty good flow, except for couple times, upsettingly.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah, and I know playing ramp is definitely something I like playing. With this deck, I play this mainly as an homage back to the original Super Saiyan 3. I know I just did make a misplay here that Xavier laughed at, was I forgot that I only awakened at 4 and I thought I was at 4. But it didn't matter because I was already I was going to draw the card anyway, and it was off the boo. But essentially making the homage to the original Super Saiyan 3 lead, I play it with the not regrettable, but the original, the UI Goku. I just love when I think it was Cross Worlds when it came out. I loved that set so much. I love the leader. I remember taking it to a SOAR championship, everything behind it. So I've been tinkering with the deck. I know post set 16, it's gonna have some interesting card choices in it too. I'm gonna update it for that. But ideally, playing this deck, I know against you, I'd want to get out the boo as fast as possible to try and ding down your unisons, which I know in the game you were after the game you were saying it wasn't that detrimental getting rid of your unisons, but I know when you eventually you do play the boo, that was what mainly I wanted to get rid of.
Yeah, the big thing is my early game unisons is just for early game, for keeping stuff active. Mm-hmm. But usually by the time I've reached about 4 or 5 energy, it's never that big a deal if I lose one. Mm-hmm. In fact, usually I hope that the opponent gets rid of my Great Ape, so I can either play the Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta that throws out the Super Saiyan 4 Goku, mm-hmm. or I just play the Boo Unison over it and just go off of that. Mm-hmm. But it's that's 4 energy, and usually my opponents are so busy trying to knock my unison down that they do nothing else.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah, and because for me, I was mainly afraid of you having God Sealing in your hand. I'm I just could not afford to have God Sealings active in play, because the UI Goku is such a glass cannon in the deck that you play him, he bounces everything, and your opponent can't combo. But if he gets stopped, then he gets stopped essentially. But I know in this instance I was playing out the Kais because I want to stop. I know you play Floodgates as well, so I want to make sure that if you want to play a Floodgate, it would hurt. Otherwise, I know going on with this, it was kind of a grindier matchup going back and forth, because once I got to 6 energy, I just played there. But once I'm also awakened, I can easily just expend my energy without fearing about going into untap, because the Boo gives me 1 and then my leader gives me 3, so I go into your turn with 4 energy guaranteed. And essentially, in this game, I was actually able to keep my hand size up versus other games I've played. I was going to say, Joe, to bring you in on the conversation, too. I know you're still coming back to play Dragon Ball more. I know this week you're coming to the tournament. You're still playing Yellow Sin and looking at other decks, but if you had to choose a color you don't like playing against, what color would you choose?
In terms of a color combination or a mono?
Well, either or. It's up to you. Color combination, mono color, a leader specifically you don't like.
Leader specifically, I don't know. I don't know if it's leader specific. I definitely don't like the unison boos that you play. That definitely does put a nice good old slam on Sin Shenron. But in terms of a leader I don't like, I don't think there's exactly one. But it definitely, I mean, I like to play, and more of like a background, I like to play more aggro or control, or like either one or the other, or in this case you can kind of do both with Yellow and Shinron. But when I'm doing that, you know, when you're finally going aggro and you're being stopped, it's kind of like a downer, because you're like, oh well, now I gotta wait another turn, and you gotta go back into playing a more control aspect to it, which you don't always want. Well, to me, I don't always want to be doing that, because if I'm changing the drive of the deck to control, to aggro, I don't really want to fall back to control, because if I'm doing aggro, I'm usually going game. But I don't think there's really a leader I don't like. I mean, like you said, I'm still getting into this, so there's still plenty of leaders I haven't faced off against. But definitely individual cards, like there's definitely a lot of counterplays. There's definitely a lot of unisons that put a damper. That boo hurts, the fact that you can do it on my turn.
Yeah, and so like with that boo, its -1 is really good. And the only thing is it doesn't get through barrier. And I know you're playing Sin and you're still new to playing Sin Shenron. And I feel like there's still a lot more you can learn from it, because Sin Shenron is still like an extremely good deck. I know, Xavier, we talked about like how Sin, even though like it didn't take a direct hit from losing power of the Super Saiyan, since Shenron still manages to be a great all-around deck. Especially because on the leader, you have a built turn 6 win button, where you can just keep spitting out the big... Like, you want to make sure you don't warp your Shadow Dragons, because you can just keep bringing them out past turn 6. And going on with that, I was going to say, Xavier... In this matchup, how were you feeling when, like, I know, like, for example, for this, I kept just bouncing the Vegeta Floodgate back to my hand with Path to the Infinite, and I kept recycling the Floodgate, which, in my opinion, I feel like it puts a damper on your deck, because you want to keep your energy up, but in order for you to keep attacking, to ramp your energy, you'd have to sack energy. How did you feel in this matchup against Super Saiyan 3? Because I know I've only played you once before, I think, with it as well.
I think a big issue was, one, I didn't see any of my golden great apes. That was another big one.
Which one was that? The unison or the counterplay? Or counter?
That's the counter. I'm like, I needed that desperately so I could just stop the Vegeta play in general. Very instrumental for the oh, look at that, you played a floodgate. No, you didn't. And I will get rid of something else on your board, ignoring barrier. And now I have a 30k triple striker here.
Yeah,
and
right.
It's like I put pressure on you, and that alone is good enough for me.
No, yeah, and that's my thing is like, and I know in this current situation we have going is this is where I was finally able to get rid of the boo. I attacked with Path of the Infinite because I wanted to try and get you to see if you would spin it down. And I had another Path of the Infinite just to bounce a Vegeta. I was surprised you didn't bottom deck the Vegeta, because after I've already been bouncing the Vegeta at that point.
I was hoping you didn't have any more.
What's up?
I was just hoping you didn't have any more Path to the Infinite.
Well, because I know for this build, I was trying to find one more Vegeta, because that Vegeta Floodgate is so good in this deck, because you can easily untap for 4 and keep it up, but I only had 2, so I know I was really surprised, because in this game specifically, I hit the Vegeta so often, because I had it bounced, I think, a couple times, and then I actually had another one. And with this, it was funny, was when you said no negate on the triple striker, I'm like, wait, what, does he have Kamehameha in his hand? And you just did 2 Kamehamehas. I laughed. I'm like, oh god, because then at this point, I wasn't sure what was gonna happen, but I'm like, he's gonna get rid of the field somehow. And then like when you played it, I forgot that you had it, because I think this is the turn you just do the Kale, right? You just outright play the Kale.
Yeah, I think that was what was happening here.
Because that's the thing is, like, she essentially, so like Joe, for example, how you're saying, oh, that boo is broken. The one thing that's funny is he plays the Kale, but Kale, when she's played, she gets barrier. Boo can't get through barrier on his -1. So, for example, when you're playing Sin Shenron, you have ways to copy other Shadow Dragon abilities. So if you can copy one of your Shadow Dragons, like the Oceanus that has barrier on her, if you were to attack with that Shadow Dragon, I wouldn't be able to bottom deck it because of the barrier. And barrier is such a strong mechanic.
And I wasn't saying he's broken. I'm just saying he's very strong.
No. Yeah, and that's the thing. Is like I just know a lot of times when I go against you, when I play the Boo, you're like, well, crap. What am I supposed to do now? Because it's the same for me. Because like when you're playing against it, like earlier when Xavier had the Boo, I couldn't attack with anything that wasn't my own Boo unison or my leader, because I didn't want anything to get bottom deck. Because essentially I wanted to keep the Vegeta because like I keep doing this where I just keep putting it back in my hand because it's a great floodgate. And I never thought, like, this is like I think the first game where like I have never seen Path to the Infinite so much, and I bounced it so many times. I will note, I don't know when I do it, Xavier. I think it's sometime soon. There was a time in the game where a question came up where it's like, because I couldn't even remember, because I had I was like thinking about so many things, like how to get through Xavier's field. Was I asked him if I did the +0 on Boo. Xavier said no, I hadn't, and I did it. But I think watching the video, I did. It wasn't a big deal for that extra draw because I already knew what it was going to be. I think it's this turn is when it happens. It's going to be this turn, because what's going to happen is I already have the Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta in my hand, the same one you tried playing. And I play it as a 1 of in the deck. See, no, that's off the leader. I just hard cast it, get 4 cards in my hand, and then I have a 30k blocker. So essentially, he's a draw 4. Show you my opponent when I draw, get a 30k blocker, and then I still untap. If I have the Boo, I untap 4, which I just think is amazing. Like, I think the Super Saiyan 3 Goku, the reprint, he's not busted. See, look, that was the question where I asked, well, did I have it? I only drew the Calamity Challenger, which wasn't as changing. But so I drew him, and then I get another top 4. And see, there's another Calamity Challenger, another Floodgate. And so, just like, there's like just so much that I get going with it. And I think this is where, yeah, you just drop Mafuba on him. But for the Super Saiyan 3 leader itself, like, its Awaken is like, they nerfed the start your game with 2 energy on it also. But like, honestly, like, I don't think it's like a disgusting leader, but if you're just looking to have like some casual blue ramp fun, like for best of ones, I think it's a great leader. It's a fun leader. You can do a lot of weird stuff with it. There's a bunch of blue packages you can do. I just did this one because it's a throwback for me. I just love the original UI Goku package. I wish I could play that Kale, because that Kale is so disgustingly good, but I cannot because I can't go over 6 energy, and I think she's 7, right, Xavier, to get her second effect?
Yep.
Yeah, it's like if you have 7 or more energy, you get the second effect, which is like the reason you play her. And unfortunately, I can't get it. But it's still fun. I don't know. Like, I know, Xavier, you've been playing Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta for a while, but have you ever considered switching to a different ramp leader or no?
Well, no. The only other deck I'm planning on building is the Beerus ramp.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I used to play blue-green, but now now that the mono blue variant's pretty top tier now, because there's just so many mono blue cards that I can use.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I was gonna say.
I'm like, originally there wasn't that many mono blue cards, so I just played the mono blue variant.
Yeah, and then here you go playing another Kale. I didn't think you had another Kale in your hand. And then
yeah,
go on. I'm sorry.
I'm like, it's just. It was just basically, I think I either top decked it off of leader, or I did have 2. No, I had 2 Kales before. Mm-hmm. I just didn't do much with it.
I know you laughed because you're like, man, you negated it twice. I'm like, yeah, because I want to keep this Boo on the field. Because in my mind, that Boo is it's putting in so much work right now. I'm like, I'm not gonna want to lose it. Because even going into this next turn, it's still a free draw. I can't tell. I know at some point in the late game, I did draw another Boo, and it played into my turn process. So, like, I just +0'd again. I drew another Path to the Infinite, and I'm just, like, thinking, like, okay, what can we do? I think at this point, you bottom decked the one I've been playing. But then I did draw another one off the Vegeta Super Saiyan 4, which I don't remember if you saw, because I had to reveal it, but I don't know if you remembered it.
I remembered, I just couldn't do anything about it.
Yeah. So then I swung with Baby, comboed 1, because I think at this point you were either at 1 or 2 life, right?
I think either 2 or 3.
Because you were low, and I was surprised I managed to get you really low. And then like you started doing that, and I think this turn you actually dropped your own Vegeta, the Ready to Rumble Floodgate. And it like hard stops me, because I'm like, do I want to go down or not? Because at this point, I feel like I was in a safe place. I know I had Baby Hatch for the longest time. Like I could survive a turn as long as you didn't counter something. And I'm like, I was just using the floodgates outright, so then if you wanted to attack, you had to try. But so there's another Calamity Challenger. Calamity Challenger is also such I've talked about in previous videos. It's such a great card. Like the fact that it's a 1 draw card, deflect blocker. It's just a disgustingly good card. I love it.
I wish it were gone.
What? Why? You don't play it?
I would, but you know, I don't have any.
There's the Vegeta Ready Rumble. I think I know Joe. You have one, unless you got rid of it. But I don't know if I think Jim has some.
I don't know, but
Calamity Challenger.
Yeah, that Goku that's on the field, the 4-drop, the one I just played 2 of.
Yeah, I still have some.
Yeah, I'm like, I think he dipped in price, but I remember he was $1. I'm not gonna go back into it, but essentially he was $1. I picked them all up. People were like, "Oh, he's all right." I'm like, "He's pretty good. You just ignore the second effect." And in this case, did I pass to you at this point?
I'm pretty sure you passed because I don't think you wanted to sack any energy.
Oh no, yeah, because you're swinging with the Kale right now. Because you swung with the Kale. No.
No.
Oh, I'm attacking with something still. Or no, I hard casted the Zeno. I remember I casted Zeno and I casted the Kai to get 2 more cards in my hand, just to have that, because at that point I'm like, I don't think you have a second Kale, and I'm like, then that way, because you don't have much spot removal, right?
Not as much. I do have some, but not a lot of them showed up.
Yeah.
Like I was upsettingly drawing like cards, like multiples of the same cards.
Yeah.
Like in my energy, I got both my 8-drop Gogetas. I got no 5-drop Gogetas. I got no, like, I was not getting any of my cards.
I was gonna say, at this point you did have the 5-drop Gogeta. You just hard cast him at this rate. I was afraid. I thought you were gonna do a Turning the Tide. I'm like, oh damn it, I'm gonna lose if he does the Turning the Tide.
Another I never saw.
No, well, but you only played 1 of them, right?
No, I run 2.
Oh, you run 2. Oh, Jesus. Well, I'm glad he didn't draw a single one, because that was the one thing I was afraid of. Like, if he can hit a Turning the Tide, then I'm like, yeah, it sucks. And then at this point, you spun down both Calamity Challengers, which I'm like, huh. But it makes sense because you wanted to get rid of the blockers. Because then I also dropped a Ready to Rumble, and I think you go to swing with the Gogeta, because I think you sack a life to swing with him. I can't remember, because I think he comes at me. I can't remember exactly. Let's see. No, you just passed. Oh, no, you didn't. No, I forgot to take it off. So you took that off. Yep, you did pass. You ended up passing. And then I think this is final turn, because I didn't think it was going to be the final turn. I just thought, I'm like, okay, let's see what I can push and whatnot. But hold on, before we get into that, I was going to say, and then another question, Joe, because you're still new to the videos, I was going to say, we've asked most people about this, but what deck are you looking forward to in the next set?
Probably, I believe I said this, probably Mono Green Beerus. I just want to try it out.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I mean, yeah, it's nothing.
Yeah,
it's nothing game breaking, but it's green. I mean, I know you mentioned you want to play OG Broly, which would be cool.
It would be, but someone's already playing it.
Oh no, you can still play it. I mean, just try it out. And Joey, like, once you find a deck that you like, outside of Sin, you just keep building it. But going back to the game, I think at this point, I was trying to get as many swings as possible. I know with that one, because this you definitely were at 1 life. I know you were at 1 life because it was lethal. I forgot you had the blocker, so I'm like, okay. And then I think I know I go UI, I think, for this one. I think. I can't remember exactly. Because I do that. And then I do the 2 to go into him. But I thought you had something. And I pitch 1. Because when I did that, I'm like, I have to kill you this turn, else you're just going to kill again. I know the rest of the game, like the rest of the night, we had a new player too. His name was Will. He was playing Mono Red Gogeta from set 13, I think it was this. And yeah, there it goes. So it was like, I just swung with it. You didn't have a counter. You couldn't. You had one UI Kamehameha left, but I was just gonna combo out just to make sure you took it. But I was just surprised about winning that one. Else, we're gonna try and have 2 videos this week, guys. Commentary. Hopefully, we can have Jim and some other people. Else, thank you for tuning into the Locked TCG, and I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day.
Yeah, have a good one.